Extremely excited. Excited for me personally, just to be with these guys. The longer I can be with them, the better, because I just enjoy the group so much. But we get to practice today. A lot of teams aren't practicing today. I'm excited for these guys getting on the plane tomorrow, heading out there. And obviously, though, we are going out there to try to accomplish something. So we got to get back to work today. But it's an exciting time around here.
You talk about shared experiences a lot, and we talked this season. You got guys from 18 that are fully invested, guys that have been out there before. Just sort of talk about being able to share that with all the past guys.
Yeah, on the staff alone, there's a lot of experience going to Omaha, and I didn't play in Omaha. I just coached in Omaha, but Coach Gaines played in Omaha, Coach Worsbicky played in Omaha, Coach Riley played in Omaha, so they can tell the guys, here's what I felt like I did well, maybe here's what I didn't do, what I needed to do to prepare, because we want to do our job to help them win a national championship, but we also want them to experience what they should experience by getting there. So you got to work those things in. So we're excited about that. But we also have experience from the standpoint of we all have guys that have played in Omaha, players. But when you played in front of that many people in an ACC championship against NC State, and then had the games we had here, I feel like it prepares us for that.
Coach, you guys have known who you're going to be playing, at least in the first game in Omaha, since the last time it was recorded on Saturday night. Is there some more comfort level there, having known, and it being a team that you played already this year in Virginia?
I wouldn't say comfort level. When I drove in, I remember, before I left the house, telling the girls, hopefully it'll be the Who's versus the Heels, because you want the ACC to get there. We have a lot of respect for them. I know they have a lot of respect for us. We've both been really good in our division and really good in the ACC. But we have played them 3 times, and we played them at their place. So from the scouting standpoint, a ton doesn't change, but they're a lot different, obviously, at this point than when we played, and we're a lot different than when we played. But at the end of the day, I've been out there long enough to know that the 8 teams are out there for a reason. And we're going to have to play extremely well. So we'll focus on us more than we'll focus on Virginia.
Is the way they're pitching right now, particularly their starters, the biggest difference in the Who's right now versus the team you saw a couple months ago?
Yeah, I think so. They've got some guys back, 1 or 2 from injury, but also I believe it's Woolfolk who's really stepped up for him as a starter. Their offense is their offense. It's really good top to bottom. But that's been the biggest difference. They have pitched at a much higher level, especially starting pitching. I'll be, interested to see. I don't know if they've announced a starter yet, but we'll have to prepare for whoever that is. But they pitched a lot better the last 6 weeks for sure.
As you go deeper and deeper into this tournament, how much are you concerned with letting guys really use the full extent of their arm? Obviously, you saw 144 pitches from a starter in your last game, but that's not exactly an everyday thing. But also, there's really not much to save the arms for as you go deeper and deeper. Only fewer games left.
Yeah, the format there is unique from the standpoint of, when we played a weekend series, unless it's been a midweek game, obviously you don't have a day. So you can definitely manage, and that's where the experience comes in. We've been out there, we've gotten ourselves in the loser's bracket, and we've also won the first 3 games, and all of a sudden you're playing the national championship. And that's where that'll help me from the pitching standpoint. But the way I look at it is when you have that day for sure off, you just go after that first game. You have a starter in your mind. You save that starter for game 2. But to answer your question on pitch counts, it's just the workload that the kid has had up to this point, how many days rest he has had. But if he's throwing well and he doesn't have those really taxing innings, I think pitch counts are overrated. I mean, we're not going to get into the Nolan Ryan 270 pitches probably.
It's up to 270 now.
Yeah, whatever it is. What is the number? I think it's like
250 something.
239.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Grace knows.
Extra credit.
So I told the guys, until you can go out there and throw 239, you really hadn't done anything. But we'll monitor it. But it's like DeCarroll the other night. He was throwing really well. If he gets out of 7th, we might send him back out. We might go ahead and go to Dalton. But for me, it's more, if a guy has one long inning, 35-plus pitches, and you have to keep an eye more on that pitch count.
Scott, it's something you've talked about throughout the season in terms of the role identification with this team, knowing your role, the guys you brought in through the portal. Did you ever, early in the year or in the fall, sit down with Stokely, Vanderbrake, Castagnazzi, and say, look, you might have to take a step back and to help this team become what you thought it could become?
Yeah, I definitely didn't have that conversation like that before the season started. I had it when the season ended last year.
Season.
Hey guys, I didn't say about having to step back. Like more like, I feel like there's going to be more competition. You need to understand that just because you played this year, and I had that with everybody, even a guy like Honeycutt. I would have been shocked if somebody would have come in and stole his position.
Yeah.
But I also would have been shocked if somebody ever in here was better than Dustin Ackley, and his career is pretty dang close. He may not have as many hits, but
Right.
the conversation more is we weren't where we needed to be depth-wise. I feel like we're going to be. You're an older player, so I want to make sure it's a two-way street because they can go on the transfer portal too. And I don't want anybody in our program that doesn't want to be here for the right reasons. And, if you want to be back here and you want to be a part of, what you've been a part of, but there's no guarantee just because you started this season that you're going to start next season. That's more of the conversation. And when you have that conversation, you can go back and say, hey, we had that conversation, and that anybody can go in the portal, maybe easier to play somewhere else. But if you stay here, it's always going to be harder because there's going to be more competition at this level.
Just to follow up on that real quick, there's no way you could have predicted the success, though, of what you got in the portal back then when you were having that conversation, when you were telling them.
There's a lot of unknown. We did feel really good about our high school class. We knew we were going to fight the draft, but you're right. We don't know if they're going to actually step foot on campus or they're going to sign professionally. But then when you're in the portal, you have a little more idea of okay, what is Madera? What's he like? And then D'Onofrio, and then all of a sudden Parks Harbor pops up.
Sure.
I didn't know Parks Harbor was going to be here. He was a last minute guy. So at the end of the day, every recruit and every kid that we meet with before they come here, we've never told a kid he's going to start. We've never guaranteed him he's going to be in the lineup. We just give him that opportunity and say, hey, it's got to be about the team first. And if it's all about you playing a certain position, go somewhere else. Because you may be a shortstop your whole life. If we need you to play second base, you have to go there. But you're right, you don't know for sure until they get here. But I do know from being on the staff a long time, and the best teams we've had, your talent level's higher, and therefore the competition's higher. And guys just see it, and they know, okay, I can't take a day off. I can't take a day off in the weight room.
Yeah.
I have to take care of myself off the field, all that stuff.
Scott, I think kind of piggybacking off of that, when you look at this roster, I think from an outside perspective, Carolina baseball is like one of the upper echelon programs. But you look at it, you've got guys who's battled back from injuries. You've got guys who've been told they're not good enough to play at the D1 level. You've got D3 transfers. You've got guys who've been told they'll never play here at Carolina. Do you think some of their own personal resiliency plays into the team resiliency you've got going on right now?
100% yes. And every program does it different. Now you're going to see every program. I mean, we're all seeing it in basketball and football. If you watch the Dan Hurley interview that he did on CBS, he has his way, and that's just sometimes you walk away from a more talented player for the right player to come in your program. You still have to have talent, but you got to get the right fit to have a great team, and that's what we believe in here. Yes, we will take some guys off the transfer portal, but we also still believe in our high school players. We believe the ones that come in here are talented enough to get better. We count on them getting better through development, but we also want to get the right guy out of the transfer portal, and the guy that's going to be here for the right reasons. And we feel like we got lucky, and obviously the harder you work, the more lucky you get. And our coaches did a phenomenal job last summer of not just identifying the talent, but working hard to figure out, the backbone of the kid, and is he genuine, does he have high character.
You said before that pitch counts can be a little overrated sometimes. Are there any other aspects of the analytics or maybe of the game that you necessarily maybe trust your instinct a little bit more on, even as we go deeper into the postseason?
Yeah.
Maybe there's a specific.
Yeah, I would say the two main things, the hardest decisions, are when to play small ball offensively, when do you lay a bunt down, because the analytics are the analytics and they show the analytics. But a lot of those analytics that everybody are looking at are analytics of Major League Baseball. So that's college baseball is different than Major League Baseball. We have great players, but we're not like the top 2% in the world. It's really hard to be a major leaguer. But the overall hardest is when to take the starting pitcher out, because the analytics are going to tell you the third time through the order, the facts are the facts. But you also have to go by what you actually see, and that's where, for me, I'm going to go by what I'm seeing with that starting pitcher before I made that decision. And even if you have an All-American closer like we have or a reliever like Dalton Pence, sometimes that starter has it going, and you can look in that other dugout like in 2006 when Robert Woodard threw that complete game. We had Andrew Kerrigan, and he was lurking in the bullpen, but I felt like Clemson didn't want to face Robert Woodard again, and that's where Coach Fox and I talked, and we just sent Woody back out there, and he made us look good. The player has to do it. You're either going to look good or you look bad, so that's kind of the analytics side.
Scott, how do you think you've changed over time since you first got the job to today? Like, in what ways do you think you've evolved? How are you different these past 40 years? Like,
yeah,
take me through that evolution.
I would say I've changed a ton from the standpoint of just how the lens that I look at the coaching side. I've always been ultra competitive. My parents tell me I was like that. They had to teach me how not to cry after we lost every single time, but it was a mad cry, they told me, so I had to learn that from them. Had a really short temper, competitive temper, and but as I've gotten older and my kids have grown, having a daughter that played a college sport helped as well. Watching that lens, wanting to be the right kind of parent that supported the team concept. But really for me, I would say the thing that I've changed the most is the players come first, period. And when I get in here every single day, that's what it's about. Like, okay, our current players, not the next team, not the person calling that wants tickets, or not even somebody that might want to help our program. It's more like, okay, everything starts and ends with those players and the staff, because all those folks, technically all the coaches and everybody that works here works for me. And my faith has grown tremendously over the years, and I made the choice to coach through that avenue. By no means does it make me better than anybody else, but you heard the players talking about the other night, and as corny as it sounds, the backbone of our program is love. I know it sounds corny, but I don't think people tell each other enough. I'm a country boy from Sanford, North Carolina, and we hugged, when we saw each other, we saw our families, and that's what I enjoy the most now, just really getting to know every individual player. I know it's a long-winded answer, because that's how I feel like I can get the most out of them individually.
What was that sign you held up, just real quick, after that?
Yeah.
A piece of paper after the game.
That was JR. We met in the first year we went to Omaha. JR has Hunter syndrome. Unfortunately, Hunter syndrome. He passed away suddenly this season. He had just come. He comes down now every year for a week. Bat Boys. He's just been a huge part of our program. And little did JR know, it was a picture of JR leaving, because he gets so sad when he leaves. And Remington was right there beside him. Little did we know, that would be the last time we would actually see JR. And so many people think that our team affected. Man, it's so neat to see the guys affect JR like they did, but realistically, I saw JR affect our team the most, from the perspective standpoint. We have other things that show our guys that, but that helps these guys understand, like, okay, you are a baseball player, but it's not who you actually are. Who you are is the most important thing, and at the end of the day, that's what people are going to remember you by the most, is the person you are and how you treat other people.
Scott, here in June of 2024, who is Mike Fox to this program now? And like with Carolina basketball, for example, men's basketball, Roy is sort of viewed as the caretaker of that program now, after his the career's over and he's still always around. Like, is Coach Fox the caretaker of your program now, or how does that dynamic work?
You'd have to ask Coach Fox that.
How do you see it?
I see it as a mentor. I think Coach Fox, he was adamant that he wanted me to become the caretaker of the program, but I also knew Coach. He didn't call me and say, "Hey, what are you doing?" or "We need to do this," or "We need to do that." It was more like I called him when I needed. If there was somebody I needed some advice from, I was going to call Coach Fox, period. Because the one thing I did know, I'm not Coach Fox. Coach Fox is not me, so the personality was going to be different. But I figured out as a player at North Carolina Wesleyan that the blueprint of how to run a program, he had it figured out. So I would be dumb if I didn't do everything that exact. I mean, I can't do everything exact because I'm not the same person. But I would say now Coach is more like the grandfather of the program. You know, we want him here, and he has great feel. You know, some people don't have feel. Just the bottom line, he's got great feel. He comes out, comes to scrimmages, he'll umpire. You know, he'll talk to the players, and I think them seeing that has been a huge value for us. But what they feel from Coach is like he just wants them to have success. And I feel it from him. He wants me to have success, and I think he's proud. You'd have to ask him. I think he's proud of, you know, I was taught growing up you want to leave something better than you found it, and that's all my goal's been since the day I took the job. How long you coach, you don't know. But I feel like that's how he was, and I feel like that's how I am, and I want to do the same thing that he did, to continue to grow the program, continue to make it thrive. And, you know, you saw the fans, and we're working hard to continue to do that. And but I'd be lying if I didn't say, like, I always think about, like, I want to make, you know, Coach Fox proud.
Last one.
With
Coach,
three-
I'm sure you've heard from a ton of people since Saturday night. What are some of the most meaningful messages that you've received? Just congratulations.
Can't be getting me emotional. You know?
It's fine.
I've gotten, I mean, I sat on my screen porch when I don't even know what time I went to bed the other night, because I went down and hung out with everybody that put all this stuff on, which was cool in the tents. And then got home and hung out with the girls, and then ate a little bit, and then sat on the screen porch and responded to all the texts. But, you know, the most meaningful text for me, obviously, besides family, I got to embrace my family because they were here. Again, you know, everybody lives here. My brother lives close by, my sister, my parents, cousins. So I got to see all of them, but I got a ton of texts from kids that I had coached. I mean, I'm talking 1999 Wilmington Sharks. Y'all probably even know I was the head coach for the Wilmington Sharks, and driving a bus. And then Winthrop, those 3 years were so valuable, you know, leaving North Carolina and working for Coach Hudak, getting out of my comfort zone, but hearing from all those players, and then all the players here at North Carolina, a lot of them were here, but I mean, I'm just walking out, I know he's a superstar now, but I couldn't answer Zach Gallen's call. I'm going to call him right back, but I know it's that, you know, he was going to call me and congratulate me. He's a big leaguer, and he's going to want to, you know, play FaceTime. So stuff like that. That was just like, whoa, like I hadn't talked to this kid since 1999, and he used to drive the van while I was sleeping on the way back from Florence, South Carolina. I mean, you couldn't do that now. It's probably a lawsuit waiting to happen. But Coach Howell was on those teams, and we talk about it all the time. Like, Coach Howell was one of the drivers because one of my coaches left, and it was just me the rest of the summer, so a player had to drive the other van. And but those were the most meaningful ones for sure.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, Scott.
Absolutely crazy. You know, it's been so awesome just to be able to have all these guys come out here and come together and do the thing that we've been wanting to do this entire year, ever since, you know, me as a freshman, we came here in June for summer school pretty much a year ago. So it's been really awesome that we've had one goal and now we're finally achieving this goal, but, you know, the job's not over yet and we're just getting ready to go do it in Nebraska. So,
Boston, how has some of the older guys in the coaching staff helped you kind of stay grounded?
It's taken a lot of, you know, pretty much just talks and everything, and a bunch of guys like Connor Bovair, who's taken me under his wing, has pretty much showed me the ropes and helped me really find my way, and especially with Coach Gaines and Coach Forbes, just pretty much helping me along the way and telling me how to be, like, mature as a person and as a baseball player on and off the field has been honestly very huge for, I feel like, my development and the team's development to be able to, you know, do what we're doing.
Coach Forbes talks a lot about the 24-hour rule, you know, get over anything good or bad within 24 hours. How have the guys handled that, and what's that mental reset been like the past couple days?
I mean, we've done really well with it. It's been very process-oriented. You know, we don't take anything for granted. We're always just doing what we need to do.
What do you remember about playing Virginia the first time?
Losing twice, and it's not something I want to do again. So, you know, we want to get out there and pretty much just do what we know that we're capable of. You know, we've seen them, and they're a great ball club, but we're just going to, you know, keep doing what we've been doing and just get after it.
Was there anything specific from that series that you remember that you feel like maybe UNC didn't execute as well as they could have?
I'm not sure. They have the UVA has a really good offense. So, you know, we're just going to make sure that we execute our pitches and, you know, get to business.
How have you seen this pitching staff grow since that series?
100%. You know, there's been a bunch of guys that have stepped up, especially out of the bullpen, and, you know, guys that, you know, maybe weren't starters that have become starters and have really taken their baby steps into bigger steps, which has been really awesome to see, especially a guy like Jason, who's 2 years younger than me and we're in the same grade. So it's kind of wacky, but it's awesome to see him grow from the guy that I met last year into our Friday night starter now.
Also, knowing what the NCAA tournament bracket looks like and who you're matched up against, and knowing Arkansas, UVA are sort of on the other side of it if you get to Omaha. Did you guys watch UVA more this tournament? I mean, did you try to catch some of those games against Kansas State, and were you all talking about that series at all as a team?
We pretty much just have been watching everybody play. We've played them already, so I'm sure that they've grown as a team as well, but it's mostly focusing on ourselves, and because we know that we're going to go out there and we're going to play, and it's not really about the guys across from us. If we go out there and we execute everything that we know that we can do, it's going to be better for us.
What would that feeling be like, being able to take them down in a high situation like this in the College World Series, especially this young in your career?
Dream come true. It's going to be awesome, and hopefully we can run out there and help my team win a championship.
What are some of your memories of watching the College World Series on TV?
I mean, just me and my dad sitting out on the porch and saying, wow, like, that could be me one day, and now that we're getting on a plane to Nebraska tomorrow, it finally can be. So it's going to be, just a full circle moment.
Were you a Carolina fan back then? You can be honest.
You like Duke, didn't you?
No, never, actually. But no, I mean, I grew up and just pretty much, I never really watched a lot of college baseball growing up, so I started really getting into it my freshman year of high school, and it's been honestly just a crazy ride, just being able to watch all these teams, and now that I'm finally a part of one, just getting ready for it.
Coach Forbes has talked about love kind of being the foundation of this team. Do you feel like maybe your own personal definition of that word has changed because of this season at all?
I think so. And every single one of our emails, Coach Forbes tells us that he loves us, and I actually really enjoy it because, back home, the only people that I had really tell me that they love me are my mom and my dad and my family members and my friends, but having the guys that I'm around every single day now, being able to say, hey, I love you, man, it's been honestly awesome. And especially when Coach Forbes tells me he loves me, it's on a different, level, just because he's our coach, and usually you don't really hear that a lot. So if I'm having a bad day or something's not going right on or off the field, it's just, I know that he loves me, so it's, it really helps us out a lot.
Was it something that took you aback the first time? Just because I feel like, especially with men, there is like that stigma surrounding some of those things. Or was it something that you immediately kind of were like, oh, it's like a breath of fresh air?
100% a breath of fresh air. It's not something that I really hear all the time, so being able to hear it from him or read it every single day is just something that warms my heart every day.
Last one. How important was that culture when you decided to come here to Carolina?
Super important. I feel like I have developed and matured so much ever since I first gotten here, and it's been honestly amazing because I was very childish when I first got here, and it's been able to help me, and I feel like all of us, get to where we need to go.
Thanks.
Why do you still have your ACC?
Luke, what's up, man?
How you guys doing?
Good.
Luke, there's 6 of the other regulars who are probably finishing their college careers at Omaha. Have you noticed a different mindset from those guys as opposed to maybe you and Gavin, who get other chances?
Yeah, no, I mean, we're all really, really excited. This is the first time for a lot of us, all of us. And, we're going there for one reason only, and that's to compete for a national championship and continue to play the baseball we've been playing all year and just really compete. And like I said, we have one thing on our mind, and that's to go win the whole thing.
How have you guys kept your emotions in check throughout regionals, super regionals, and now headed to Omaha?
Yeah, obviously, there is more pressure and the games are different, and every game that we play, it could be our last. So, but we treat it like it's every other game. Because you have to, you can't play and put that pressure on yourself. So subconsciously we're telling ourselves it's just another game, but obviously we're aware that every game with this group could be our last, and we don't take that lightly. And we're a really, really close group, and we want to play every single game we can until that last game.
Luke, has the coaching staff had any, or the older guys had any conversations about keeping it in perspective with you guys?
Yeah, we had a hitters meeting the other day, and it just talked about really getting into a good routine in the box and slowing ourselves down. We had an unbelievable crowd in the regional and the super regional, and So being able to slow yourself down in those big moments, and it's only going to be like bigger in Omaha and more like more pressure, more everything there. So really just being able to slow the game down and not try to do too much. And we've talked about that. And we've been talking about that for the last couple of weeks.
Luke, were you? Sorry, TA. You want to do it?
Okay.
Go for it.
You sure? Can you describe the grind of the season and then the emotion the last 2 weeks?
I don't like the word grind because grind just sounds like it's forced to do. But like everyone here, like we don't grind. We just do everything we can, like to the best of our ability, and we have a lot of fun doing it. And I mean, we've been putting in hours upon hours since August for this moment, and we're all really excited. And so that grind that we've been enjoying for the last 10 months is all going to pay off in the next couple of weeks, and we're really excited.
I apologize if this is an overdrawn story, but what is the 2 baseball cards on the board over there, signed by a kid, it looks like? Do you know anything about that?
Nah, it's the first time I've seen it.
Oh, all right.
Were you surprised by the amount of air Dalton Pence got going into the dog pile the other night? I mean, some of the photos we have, he's actually up there, above you. And just what was that whole moment like, too?
I blacked
once
out.
Dalton
I don't
landed.
remember much. That's one of the best feelings I've ever felt in my life. I mean, it's a dream come true. I've dreamt about going to Omaha ever since I was a little kid. So, I mean, we were all little kids for that 5-minute celebration, and I think we all probably jumped a little higher than we thought we were able to.
How have you seen this pitching staff grow since the first time you played Virginia?
Oh, I mean, everything's just gotten a lot better. I mean, we've constantly each week gotten better at things. Like Dalton, might not have pitched as well as he could have against UVA, and now he's lights out of the pen, and he's been a stud for us all year. And as a staff, our pitching has just critiqued a lot of things, and we're feeling really good about it.
Luke, as someone from the Triangle, what memories do you have of growing up and watching Carolina competing in Omaha pretty much every year, every other year as a kid?
Yeah, so I'm originally from New Jersey, so I was a Carolina baseball fan and watching Carolina in New Jersey from my house as a little kid, and that's why we moved here, because I wanted to play baseball here. So growing up watching them compete in Omaha all the time and being like a little kid in New Jersey and me being in the situation now it's unreal.
Good time for one more. What do you remember most from that Virginia series that you can take into the weekend?
I guess winning on Sunday. I don't like remembering the losses, so winning that Sunday and coming back after saving the series. I mean, UVA is a really good team, and they got a good offense, and they play the game the right way. So, but I know we have one of the most powerful offenses in the country, and same thing on the mound. So, we're really excited for Friday, and it'll be fun.
Jordan has the last one.
What's it mean to you that Coach Forbes tells you that he loves you every day?
I mean, words can't describe how I feel towards this coaching staff. I mean, what they do for us and all the reassurance that they give us and how much they truly care for us is unbelievable, and it's the most support I've ever felt. And being a freshman here, and it being my first year, and I speak for a lot of us, it's a really good feeling knowing that our coaches care for us on the field and especially off the field, and they want what's best for us.
Thanks, Luke.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Luke.